every day we are going to have CSAT classes. So first 10 minutes I will take, then I will give the mic over to the class over to the Mithun sir from Kerala. So one thing I want to tell, that is CSAT exclusively the question paper will be in English, that you know. So who are from, if anyone want in Telugu or whoever are in Telugu background or any other background, please now onwards you have to try to shift into English, because English is playing a major role. It might be comprehension, it might be English comprehension, general comprehension or English comprehension. Most of the questions out of 80, 40 to 50 questions are general comprehension and English comprehension, that you have to identify. So comprehension is not easy to comprehend. For that, what we have to understand some basic points, some basic reasoning. Reasoning is also involved in comprehension passages. And practice, lot of practice. Why? Because it seems to be correct only, but it will not be correct. So 2.5 marks it will go, and negative marking will be 2.5 by 3. So in this context, how these CSAT classes are going to be, I will explain you. So lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3 will be reading comprehension and basics. Very basics, some basic English, some basic grammar with some reading comprehension passages. So the first, second and third lecture is going to be the reading comprehension and basics. I am telling you, I will not take the name, but one of my student who got a very good rank, who didn't apply for IPS, after IAS he got into IRS IT. 5 attempts he cleared prelims, but 6th attempt he didn't clear prelims only because of CSAT. Only because of CSAT. He got 120 marks in general studies, but in CSAT he didn't clear. It was a very shocking moment for him. If not, he told me, he got his service in his 4th attempt. He told me that after clearing prelims, means last 6 months back, after clearing prelims means after writing prelims, I will be coming to Hyderabad, he told. He is non-local. So he is from high standard English medium. Parents are NTPC chairman, vice chairman, very high position, very good college, very good schooling, but still he didn't clear the CSAT. Last attempt, 5 attempts he cleared prelims. So prelims, CSAT, the problem is with CSAT. So CSAT is never a easy journey. This is the best example, a real example, a genuine example. We will think that I know CSAT, I am from engineering background. That is not the engineering here which is required. English comprehension, reasoning questions also less, quantitative aptitude questions are also less. The most of the questions are from comprehension. Why I am telling all this? Because first we need to know the importance of comprehension. Any subject when we start preparing, we have to know why. Why we are sitting in this classroom, why we are sitting in English comprehension passages, what is all about the comprehension, that we have to know. Why? Because the comprehension passage is playing the major role in civil services aptitude test. To cross 66.6 marks out of 200 marks, it is the only comprehension passages better than or rather than quantitative aptitude and reasoning. So don't neglect, my dear students, comprehension passages. So 1, 2, 3 you are going to have reading comprehension passages. 4, 5, 6 you will be having practice. 4, 5, 6 you will be having the practice. 7, 8, 9, 10 you will be having logical reasoning. Logical reasoning. First, if you go to 2021 prelims questions, there are questions like logical conclusion. What logical conclusion you are going to come out of this first paragraph, from the paragraph. So the logical conclusion questions will come under logical reasoning. So in this way, the 10 sessions are going to be with respect to English comprehension, comprehension passages as well as logical reasoning. Why I am telling this? Because I will not go in our place in this academy. For every first class, we will have an introductory class, so that they will be knowing about their classes. They will be knowing about the schedule. They will be knowing about the timetable. They will be knowing about the content which will be delivered in the classroom. They will be knowing about the seriousness of the faculties, and the same will be expected from your side. Second, then after this, we are going to start from March 10th. From March 10th, we are going to start quantitative aptitude and reasoning. 10 lectures are there. Lecture 1 will be time and distance and time and work. Lecture 2 will be ratios and proportions, percentages. Lecture 3 will be profit and loss and others, profit related questions, practice, simple interest, compound interest and age related problems. Lecture 5, linear diagrams and reasoning. Linear diagrams will be there now in reasoning. One person is sitting that side, that person is sitting this side. So who is sitting in between? Linear diagrams reasoning, circular diagram reasoning, data interpretation and efficiency, sufficiency and efficiency, mainly it is sufficiency, syllogism, conclusion which logically follows. I will be taking those previous year's questions based practice. Last 2 sessions I will be taking. Why? Because I want you to clear prelims. So I want to evaluate you from my lenses, from my eyes. So last 9th and 10th class I will be taking with respect to conclusions which logically follows, and previous year's questions with expected questions we will be doing randomly in the classroom. You have to answer and I will be solving here. Like a evaluation like thing we will be doing in the 10th class. So 10th session. So overall you are going to have 20 sessions. Each session will be for 2 hours. See, the only thing which makes us to get success is consistency. So consistency is the only thing which makes us for successful. Don't be judgmental. It is you who should clear the prelims. It is you who should get into services. So this, don't neglect CSAT. Never neglect CSAT. So I will call upon the Mithun sir and he will be carrying up with the class. Thank you. I will meet you on 9th class. English also I will meet you on 9th class. CSAT, quantitative and reasoning also I will meet you on 9th class. Rest to them. March 17th. These are free classes. February 26th to March 16th, these are free CSAT classes for those 100% prelims clearing students. Original classes for GS will be from March 17th. How that is going to be means 2.5 hour session will be there. 1 hour 45 minutes will be the quick revision. Like for example, Indus Valley Civilization. What are the seals available? Buddhism. What is the difference between Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism? Classroom will not be there here. Quick revision. What are the points? So we will be delivering the points. Buddha Padas. How many types of Padas are there? Why? Because those are the questions which are asked in the previous question. Quick revision. 1 hour 45 minutes will be the quick revision. Another 45 minutes will be MCQs. Previous year's MCQs and expected MCQs without negative marking. How we will be solving in the classroom is from March 17th. Okay. So now this is CSAT classes, so that you will be having some practice sessions. Yes, we will be providing the question bank. Practice papers we will be providing for CSAT. Solutions also we will be providing. And for GS, every day 50 MCQs test will be there on the topic which is there in the timetable which we shared with you. On that topic 50 MCQs will be there with solutions. Overall 40 days you will be having 2000 MCQs with solution. Government schemes, reports and indices, committees and commissions, economic survey, budget, as well as 10 final comprehensive tests, 5 GS, 5 CSAT. High standard question papers will be there, not random question papers, high standard question papers, so that proper evaluation will happen by April end. Okay, any more queries? No. Comprehensive, yes, March 17th we will start and April 30th we will be giving timetable for that. We will give timetable for that. For the 10 tests we will be giving the timetable.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Mithun and I am from Kerala, Malayali. I have done my Masters in English Language and Literature from Kerala University. I have been teaching in Hyderabad for more than 11 years. I teach at many institutes here. Now for CSAT, I deal with the verbal part, right? The verbal part of CSAT, reading comprehension and logical reasoning. Now all of you taking the examination this year, right? Yes? Okay. So we're going to focus only on these two, reading comprehension, logical reasoning, because there will not be any question on grammar or vocabulary in our examination. We have to focus only on these two. And these two, reading comprehension, logical reasoning, come under verbal logic. These two come under verbal logic. And logic refers to making sense. And reading comprehension and logical reasoning are intended to test our reasoning ability, right? Now, in the case of verbal logic questions, we have to go by some strategies. Now, as you know, CSAT is a qualifying paper, but every year they make the examination tougher. In 2020, all the questions in the verbal part were on reading comprehension. There was not even a single question on logical reasoning. Whereas last year, all the questions were on logical reasoning. There was not even a single question on reading comprehension. So this year, we don't know whether they'll go for only reading comprehension or only logical reasoning, or they'll clip both reading comprehension and logical reasoning. We don't know that. So we have to go for both reading comprehension and logical reasoning, right? Now, in the case of examination, grammar rules don't matter much. So we'll not go for any grammar topics in detail or vocabulary in detail, right? We'll discuss only those important concepts in grammar that will be helpful to us while dealing with these two sections, reading comprehension, logical reasoning. Other than that, we'll not go for any grammar topics in detail, right? And when we start with the practice part, exercise part, we need to try solving some difficult questions. Because as you know in CSAT, the questions will never be easy. If we try solving some easy questions and get the answers, we'll feel happy. But that happiness will not last for long. It will be gone during the examination itself. So we have to try practicing some tough questions. So first, we'll discuss some concepts, the way to approach these two sections with some examples. Then we'll discuss the types of questions. And we'll start with reading comprehension. Then we'll move on to logical reasoning, right? Now, there are some types of questions that need to be focused on while approaching reading comprehension, and some different types are there in the case of logical reasoning. So first, we'll discuss the concepts on these two. Then we'll go for some exercise on reading comprehension. After that, we'll start with logical reasoning, right? Now, as I told you, we'll not go for any vocabulary sessions in detail, right? In fact, what do you mean by the word vocabulary? Vocabulary means what? Vocabulary means knowledge of words. The number of words we know in a particular language is termed as vocabulary. In this case, it is English language. In fact, vocabulary means word power, right? Now, a good knowledge of the new words in the language is not that much required for us to deal with reading comprehension, logical reasoning. Because while approaching these two sections, we can get the help of contextual vocabulary. This is an advantage while approaching reading comprehension and logical reasoning, contextual vocabulary. Now, contextual vocabulary means, as you know, in English, one word has many meanings. When you refer dictionary, the word will be here, the meanings will last till here. One word has many meanings. And the meaning of a word depends on the context or the sentence in which the word appears. So based on the context, with the help of some concepts, you must be able to understand the meaning of every new word that you come across. The same is the case while reading a newspaper as well. When you find a new word, just leave that word and go to the rest of the sentence. If you're able to understand the meaning of the sentence and the charge of the sentence, then you can make an educated guess about what can be the meaning of that particular new word. That is termed as contextual vocabulary. If I say sound, you know one meaning of sound. What if I say the boy is sound at mathematics? The boy is sound at mathematics. What can be the contextual meaning of sound here? Good, perfect, excellent, knowledgeable, sharp, all these words with the context, right? Now, as you know, English is a very complicated language. Now, sometimes a single word is more than enough to change the entire meaning of the sentence and the entire charge of a sentence. The meaning and the charge may change with a single word sometimes. Now, while approaching questions on reading comprehension and logical reasoning, the two things we need to focus on are, one is understanding the context. Now, understanding the context means the meaning of each and every sentence or each and every idea must be understood by us. That is understanding the context. The second thing is identifying the charge. Now, identifying the charge in the sense whether a question or an idea carries a positive charge or a negative charge. These are two things we need to focus on. When you take a question, you identify the charge of the question. If the question is positively charged, the answer must also be positively charged. So all the negative options can be eliminated. Similarly, if the question is negatively charged, the answer must also be negatively charged. So all the positive options can be eliminated. Now we have many concepts regarding the context, and we have many concepts regarding the charge. So all what we discuss in the sessions will be based on these two. So we'll go for some strategies based on context and charge with some examples. Then we shall think about the application part. In our sessions, we'll discuss every exercise, every question, every option based only on the concepts. That is reading comprehension or logical reasoning. That means if you say A is your answer, you must tell me based on which concept is A your answer, and based on which concepts are the others not your answers. So every decision of ours, selection or elimination, must be based only on the concepts, right? And reading comprehension and logical reasoning questions will be fine only with practice. Because verbal logic questions means we have to think a bit, right? So they'll be fun only with practice, and they'll be practicing only with the help of concepts. Now the option that you feel is the answer may not be the answer sometimes, right? So you need to have a valid logical reason to decide that one particular option is the exact answer, right? As I told you earlier, English is a very complicated language. Sometimes a single word changes the entire meaning of the sentence. That is the context and the entire charge of a sentence. Now I'll give you a list of keywords. You need to by heart the list and make sure that you don't miss any of those words while reading. You need to give utmost importance to those words in fact, right? I'll give you the notes in detail. If I say, imagine it is very cold outside, right? It is very cold outside and I like this weather very much, right? Very cold outside. I like this weather very much. If I like this weather very much, should I say it is so cold outside or it is too cold outside? One is negative, one is positive. Now I said I like this weather very much. If I like this weather very much, should I say it is so cold outside or it is too cold outside? Which is negative? So is negative or too is negative? Too is negative or so is negative? If I say the girl is too smart, right? The girl is too smart. Negative, positive? Positive? If no, it can be neutral. Negative, positive. If I tell you, you are too smart, right? Should you feel happy or not? If I tell you, you are too smart, should you feel happy or not? How many will feel happy? How many won't feel happy? How many won't have any emotions at all? You need to have some kind of emotions, right? If I say you are too smart, should you feel happy or not? Too smart means, what's the meaning of it? Too smart means over smart. Being overly smart is termed as too smart. Now, too is always something that is unnecessary, extra, we say overaction. So, too conveys a negative meaning, whereas so conveys a positive meaning. So, if someone says you are too smart, you should not feel happy. If someone says you are so smart, then you can feel happy. So, when TOO comes with an adjective, it is negative. When so comes with an adjective, it is positive. So, if I like this weather very much, I should say it is so cold outside. If I don't like this weather, I should say it is too cold outside. So, a single word changes the entire meaning and the entire charge of the sentence. If I say, the boy is too intelligent, negative, positive. The boy is too intelligent, negative, positive. Positive or negative? In fact, too much of everything is bad. Too much of everything is bad. Too intelligent, too beautiful, too innocent, too sincere, too honest, too innocent, all these are negative. In fact, people who are too innocent must be careful about it. They'll try to cheat us, right? So all these are negatively charged. They're so beautiful, so intelligent, so innocent, so sincere, all these are positively charged. So single word changes the entire meaning and the entire charge of a sentence. We need to understand the meaning and the charge of an option and the meaning and the charge of a sentence that talks about the option. I'll tell you how to approach. So there's a concept by name double negation. This concept will surely help us eliminate options in the case of reading comprehension and logical reasoning. Double negation. What do you mean by double negation? When two negative terms come together, the meaning becomes positive. As you know, minus into minus is plus, right? If I say antiseptic, antiseptic is a negative word or a positive word? Anti is a negative prefix or positive prefix? Anti. Negative prefix. Meaning? against or opposite. So anti is a negative prefix. Septic is a negative or a positive word. If I say wound becoming septic, negative, positive, negative. So anti is a negative prefix. Septic is a negative word. Two negative terms coming together, double negation. Antiseptic becomes a positive word. Anti-ragging, anti-corruption, anti-terrorism, anti-virus, all these are positive words only because of double negation. Not impossible. Not impossible, negative, positive. Same thing. Not is negative. Impossible is also negative. Double negation. Not impossible means possible, which is positive. Not bad, negative, positive. Same thing. But not bad cannot be termed as that positive. Not bad means an average performance. An okay kind of performance is not bad. Still it is positively charged because of double negation. Right? If I go for a sentence like, the boy is too intelligent to be cheated. The boy is too intelligent to be cheated. This sentence is negatively charged or positively charged? The boy is too intelligent to be cheated. This sentence is negative or positive? Positive or negative? I say this sentence is positively charged because of double negation. I used two negative terms here. Too intelligent is negative. To be cheated is also negative. We have two negative terms in this sentence. Double negation becomes positive. Now, the boy is too intelligent to be cheated means the boy is so intelligent that he cannot be cheated. That's the meaning of this sentence. Now, we cannot miss any concept because we don't know based on which concept we'll get a help. Right? So, we'll go for the concepts first, then we shall think about the application part. Right? The concepts we discussed will be helpful in the case of both reading comprehension and logical reasoning because the concepts remain the same. Only thing is there is a difference between the types of questions on logical reasoning and reading comprehension. The concepts remain the same. So we'll discuss the concepts, then we shall think about the application part. Right? Now I told you all the strategies we discuss will be based on context and charge. First, we'll go for something on charge and then we shall think about context, right? Now, there is a concept by name indicators. This is an important concept. And indicators are in fact keywords, right? I'll give you a list of indicators. You need to by heart the list and we'll be solving most of the questions on reading comprehension and logical reasoning using this concept, indicators. Just listen, don't write, I'll give the notes, right? Now, this concept, indicators, is all about identifying the charge of every idea in a sentence. Now, an idea can be negatively charged as well as positively charged. The charge of an idea depends on the context in which the idea appears. So, based on the context, with the help of indicators, you must be able to identify the charge of every idea in a sentence, right? Now, usually we can expect long passages in the examination. Earlier, many years ago, short passages used to be there, but now we find long passages, right? Now, the length of the passage does not matter actually. No matter whether the passage is long or short, the concepts remain the same, or the way of approach remains the same, right? The only thing is, you need to understand the meaning of every option and the meaning of the sentence that talks about the option, that's it, right? If I ask you a simple logical question, think well and then answer me. If I say, all the students in the class are writing, fine, all the students in the class are writing. Rahul is in the class, fine, all the students in the class are writing. Rahul is in the class. From this, can you conclude that Rahul is writing? Yes or no? Yes? All the students in the class are writing. Rahul is in the class. From this, can you go for a conclusion that says Rahul is writing? Yes? I said no. I said all the students in the class are writing. Then I said Rahul is in the class. Did I say that Rahul is a student in the class? No. Sometimes he may be a teacher in the class. We don't know that. So from this, we cannot conclude that Rahul is writing. Fine? What if I say all the students in the class are writing? Fine? All the students in the class are writing. Rahul is a student. From this, can you conclude that Rahul is writing? Yes or no? Still the answer is no. I said all the students in the class are writing. Then I said Rahul is a student. Did I say that he is in the class? No. So he may not be in the class sometimes, we don't know. So from this also we cannot conclude that Rahul is writing. Fine? All the students in the class are, fine, I repeat. All the students in the class are writing. Right? Rahul is a student who is in a class. Fine? All the students in the class are writing. Rahul is a student who is in a class. From this, can you conclude that Rahul is writing? I said all the students in the class are writing. The class means a particular class, a specific class. Then I said Rahul is a student who is in a class. A class means? A class means can be any class. So you may not be in that particular class. So from this also we cannot conclude that Rahul is writing. Fine? All the students in the class are writing. Particular class. Rahul is a student who is in that class. Fine? All the students in the class are writing. Rahul is a student who is in that class. From this, can you conclude that Rahul is writing? Yes or no? Now you can conclude. And if a sentence says that boy, immediately before that sentence, there will be or there must be a sentence containing mention about a boy. Only then we can say that boy. If a sentence says these girls, immediately before it, there will be a sentence containing mention about some girls. Only then we can say these girls. The same way, if a sentence says that class, immediately before it, there will be a sentence containing mention about some class. And only then we can say that class. So I said, all the students in the class are writing, particular class. Rahul is a student who is in that class. That class means which class? The class where all the students are writing. So what should Rahul be doing now? Rahul must also be writing now. So from this we can conclude that Rahul is writing. So every word in the option matters a lot in fact. So I'll give you a list of keywords, these indicators. After that we'll go for some more concepts. Regarding some words, we'll go for some concepts and we'll try solving the passages and the logical reasoning questions based on those words. Right? If I say, you come to me with some doubts. Right? You come to me with some doubts. I tell you, go to any teacher. Right? You come to me with some doubts and I tell you, go to any teacher. From this sentence, what can be concluded? I am a teacher. I am not a teacher. Maybe, may not be a teacher. You come to me with some doubts and I tell you, go to any teacher. Based only on this sentence, what can be understood? I am a teacher, not a teacher, maybe, may not be a teacher. It is not maybe, may not be. I am a teacher, I am not a teacher. I tell you, go to any teacher. From this sentence, I am a teacher or not? Teacher? If I say go to any teacher, that means I am not a teacher. If I say go to any other teacher, then it means that I am also a teacher. Right? If I say go to any teacher, means I am not a teacher. If I say go to any other teacher, that means I am also a teacher. If I say, instead of selecting you, I select a man. Fine? Instead of selecting you, I select a man. From this sentence you tell me, are you a man? Understand the meaning? Instead of selecting you, I select a man. From this sentence, are you a man? Yes or no? You're not a man. If I say instead of selecting you, I select a man, means you're not a man. Instead of selecting you, I select another man. Now tell me, are you a man? Yeah, now it means that you are a man. So every word in the option matters a lot. Right? Now as I said, this concept indicators is all about identifying the charge of every idea in a sentence. Right? Just listen, I'll give you the notes. Now in English, we have three kinds of indicators. And the three kinds of indicators in English are, one is contrast indicators. I'll tell you what. Then support indicators. And the last one is cause and effect indicators. CUSE, cause and effect, EFFECT. So these are the three kinds of indicators in English: contrast, support, and cause and effect. Come to the first one, contrast indicators. What do you mean by the word contrast? Contrast means what? Contra means what? If I say a contradicting situation, means? Contrast means against or opposite. Now a contradicting situation means an opposing situation. Something that is against another or opposite to another is termed as contrast, right? Now, I say two sentences. Listen. I say, a nearby enemy is of better help than a faraway friend. Full stop. Right? A nearby enemy is of better help than a faraway friend. Full stop. But you must always trust a friend. Two sentences. A nearby enemy is of better help than a faraway friend, but you must always trust a friend. Whom did I support in the first sentence? Enemy. As a nearby enemy is of better help than a faraway friend, I supported the enemy. What about in the second sentence? I supported the friend, but you must always trust a friend. So in the first sentence, I supported the enemy, whereas in the second sentence, I supported the friend. So I can say there is a contrast between the two sentences. The second sentence contradicts the first sentence. And the contrast between the two sentences is brought about by the single word but. As a nearby enemy is of better help than a faraway friend, but you must always trust a friend. That means, if the word but were not there, there is no contrast. The contrast happened only because of the word but. So I can say, but is a contrast indicator. To make my idea more precise, a contrast indicator connects to contradicting ideas. The second idea contradicts the first idea. So if the first idea is positive, the second idea must be negative. Or if the first idea is negative, the second idea must be positive. So whenever you find a contrast indicator, conclude that two contradicting ideas are getting connected. The first idea positive, the second idea negative. Or the first idea negative, the second idea positive. Now while reading, we must be very careful, especially about contrast indicators. Because contrast indicators always suggest a transition in the passage. What do you mean by transition? A shift or a change from one to the other. From positive to negative, or from negative to positive. Now when you start reading a sentence, sometimes the first part of the sentence may seem to be positive. But you can never come to the conclusion that the whole sentence is positive. Because towards the middle, there may be a contrast indicator. So what comes after the contrast indicator will be negative. Let me go for a simple example. For a simple statement like, they played well, comma, but dash the match. The options are won, lost. Answer. Now all of us know it is lost a match, right? Why not won the match? But is a contrast indicator. You must connect one positive idea and one negative idea. The idea before but is they played well, negative positive. Positive. So but is a contrast indicator and the first idea is positive. So second idea must be negative. So it must be lost a match, right? So as the contrast indicator always suggests a change in the passage. Positive to negative or from negative to positive, right? I'll give you a list anyway. Take down. Give the heading indicators. In brackets you write keywords. Keywords. The concept of indicators. The concept of indicators is regarding identifying the charge of every idea in a sentence. It's regarding identifying the charge of every idea in a sentence. Next point. The three kinds of indicators are contrast, contrast, support, and cause and effect. CAUSE, cause and effect, EFFECT. I'll tell you what. Contrast, support, and cause and effect. Next point. A contrast indicator connects to contradicting ideas. Connects to contradicting ideas. That is, the second idea contradicts the first idea. The second idea contradicts the first idea. In brackets you write positive, negative, or negative, positive. Positive, negative, or negative, positive. As an example, take down the sentence. They played well, comma, but lost the match. They played well, comma, but lost the match. So, but is a contrast indicator. The first idea is positive, the second idea is negative. Fine? This is about contrast indicators. I'll give you the list. Right? Fine. Now, listen. The second one is support indicators. Now, similarly, a support indicator also connects two ideas. But the thing is, the second idea supports the first idea. That means if the first idea is positive, the second idea must also be positive. If the first idea is negative, the second idea must also be negative. So whenever you find a support indicator, conclude that two supporting ideas are getting connected. It means that two ideas will be either positive or negative. That means only a contrast indicator tells us about a change in the charge. Only a contrast indicator says a change in the charge. A support indicator connects either two positive ideas or two negative ideas. Now the same sentence. Instead of the word but, I write and. And is a support indicator. They played well and won the match. And is a support indicator. The first idea is positive. The second idea must also be positive. So it must be won the match. Fine? Take down. Only a contrast indicator. I'll explain. Only a contrast indicator suggests, SUGGESTS, suggests a change in the charge. Only a contrast indicator suggests a change in the charge. The next point. A support indicator connects to supporting ideas. Connects to supporting ideas. That is, the second idea supports the first idea. The second idea supports the first idea. In brackets you write positive, negative, or negative, positive, positive, or negative, negative. Positive, or negative, negative. As an example, take down the sentence. They played well, comma, and won the match. They played well, comma, and won the match. And is a support indicator. The first idea is positive. The second idea must also be positive. Right? So this is about support. Positive, or negative, negative. I'll give the list. Now the last one is cause and effect indicators. Cause and effect indicators. Now what do you mean by the word cause? Cause means the reason. The reason why something has taken place or not taken place is termed as a cause. Effect means the result. If I say effect of the medicine, that means the result of the medicine. Result, outcome, impact, consequence, reaction, aftermath. So cause means a reason and effect means the result. Now the last one is cause and effect indicators. Now any word that joins or clips a cause and an effect, there is a reason and a result, can be termed as a cause and effect indicator. Any word connecting a reason and a result can be termed as a cause and effect indicator. Now as you know, a reason always supports a result. A reason never contradicts a result. A reason always supports a result. Support means it is positive, positive, or negative, negative. A reason always supports a result. So if the reason is positive, the result must also be positive. If the reason is negative, the result must also be negative. So whenever you find a cause and effect indicator, conclude that two ideas are getting connected. One idea will be the reason, the other will be the result. And it's always a positive reason and a positive result, or a negative reason and a negative result. Now it can never be a positive reason and a negative result, or a negative reason and a positive result. It must always be a positive reason and a positive result, or negative reason and a negative result. Fine? Take it down. A cause and effect indicator. A cause and effect indicator connects a reason and a result. A cause and effect indicator connects a reason and a result. Full stop. The reason always supports the result. The reason always supports the result. That means positive reason, positive result, negative reason, negative result. Fine? Take this down, write down. Right. We didn't go out as it was raining. We didn't go out as it was raining. Now you tell me, how many ideas are there in this sentence? Two ideas. We didn't go out is one idea. It was raining is the other idea. We have two ideas here. Right? Which idea is the cause or the reason here? Cause is the same as reason. It was raining is the cause or the reason. And what is the effect of the result here? We didn't go out. And if you ask me why didn't we go out, the reason is it was raining. So this is the cause of the reason, this is the effect of the result. Now as I told you, any word that joins a reason and a result can be called a cause and effect indicator. So I can say in this sentence, as is a cause and effect indicator because a cause and effect are clubbed by as. Right? Now I told you earlier, an idea can be negatively charged as well as positively charged. The charge of an idea depends on the context in which the idea appears. So based on the context, with the help of indicators, you must be able to identify the charge of every idea in a sentence. Right? Now while going for reading comprehension and logical reasoning, you should not go for any kind of imagination or general knowledge. No imagination or general knowledge must be applied in the case of verbal questions. Right? Questions in English part. Focus only on what is given there in the passage. Right? Maybe I'll come back to what you said. Hence he completed the work. I'll come back to the same sentence, right? Or let me complete this explanation, I'll come back to it. Now you tell me, it was raining is a negative idea or a positive idea? It was raining is negative, positive. Can be negative, can be positive. It depends on the sentence in which the idea appears, right? Now you tell me, in this context, it was raining becomes a negative idea or a positive idea? How can you say? Now, I asked you the charge of the second idea. Forget about it. Come to the first idea. We didn't go out, negative, positive. Negative or positive? How can you say? Now, it is not mentioned there that we wanted to go out, we love to go out. No. I said no imagination or no general knowledge. Based on the words in this idea, tell me this idea is negative positive. Didn't is a short form of did not, right? Now, while going for when it comes to mains, when it comes to writing, don't go for short forms, right? Don't use short forms while writing. You have to use full forms while writing. In our examination, CSAT is completely fine, right? Now, I said based on the words in this idea, tell me this idea is negative positive. Didn't is a short form of did not. Not is a negative word or positive word? Not is a negative word. So, based on the words in this idea, we can say that this idea is negative. That means here the result is negative. If the result is negative, the reason must also be negative. Must always be a negative reason, a negative result, or a positive reason, a positive result. So, here the result is negative, the reason must also be negative. So, in this context, it was raining becomes a negative idea. And we could identify the charge of this idea only with the help of the indicator as, right? What if I say, we went out to play as it was raining. We went out to play as it was raining. Now tell me, in this context, it was raining becomes negative idea, positive idea. What is the result here? We went out to play, negative, positive, positive. So here the result is positive, the reason must also be positive. So in this context, it was raining becomes a positive idea. So charge of an idea keeps changing. Identify the charge of every idea based on the context and that with the help of indicators. Clear? Take this down, write down. She cried as causative indicator. She cried as she was depressed. She cried as she was depressed. Fine. As is a causative indicator. Tell me, she cried, negative, positive. Crying is a negative action or positive action? Negative. If you want, I can prove you that crying is positive as well. Fine. What is the reason here? She was happy is the reason. Sorry. She was depressed is the reason here. And what is the result here? She cried is a result here, effect. And if you ask me why she cried, the reason is she was depressed. I asked you the charge of the first idea. Forget about it. Come to the second idea. She was depressed, negative, positive. Negative. So here, the reason is negative. If the reason is negative, the result must also be negative. So in this context, she cried becomes a negative idea. Fine? Take this down, write down. She cried as she was happy. Now when we're happy also we cry sometimes. Happy tears. She cried as she was happy. Now tell me, in this context, she cried becomes a negative idea, positive idea. In this context. What is the reason here? She was happy is the reason here. And the result is she cried. I asked you the charge of the first idea, forget. The second idea is she was happy, positive. So here the reason is positive. If the reason is positive, the result must also be positive. So in this context, she cried becomes a positive idea. Any doubt? Take this down, write down. She was happy, comma, but she cried. She was happy, comma, but she cried. Tell me, in this context, she cried becomes a negative idea, positive idea. In this context, negative. How can you say? But is what indicator? Contrast indicator. It must connect one positive idea and one negative idea. I asked you the charge of the second idea. Forget. Come to the first idea. She was happy, positive. So, but is a contrast indicator. The first idea is positive, so second idea must be negative. So, in this context, she cried becomes a negative. Clear? Any doubt? I'll come back to the statement you said. Someone has posed a statement, right? Complete his work. Can you please pose a statement again? Now, have you watched this movie, My Name is Khan, Shah Rukh Khan's movie? Like it was released many years ago. My Name is Khan. Now, even if you have not watched that movie, you might have heard the caption of that movie. Anyone knows the caption? Ah, yes. My name is Khan. Complete. One word is there in between. My name is Khan and I am not a terrorist, or my name is Khan but I am not a terrorist. Which one makes sense? Now, verbal logic is all about making sense. Now, the option that we select as the answer must make sense, right? There's no need for us to check for any grammatical mistakes, right? Because everything that is given to us will be grammatically correct. You have to think about grammar and all when it comes to writing. If you don't know the rules of the language, you cannot write anything. And based on it, it's all about writing, right? So grammar comes, the concern about grammar, or the concern regarding ourselves, whether we have no grammar rules not comes in the case of writing, not in the case of CSAT, in fact, right? So as I said, my name is Khan, but I am not a terrorist, makes sense, or my name is Khan and I am not a terrorist, makes sense. Which one makes sense? How many say but is a contrast indicator? A contrast indicator must connect one positive idea and one negative idea. And is a support indicator. You must connect either two positive ideas or two negative ideas. Right? How many say but? There's nothing much to think actually. Okay, fine. We'll go for but first. My name is Khan, but I am not a terrorist. But is a contrast indicator, must connect one positive idea and one negative idea. The idea after but is, I am not a terrorist. Negative, positive? Positive, because of? Double negation. Not is negative, terror is also negative, two negative terms, double negation becomes positive. But is a contrast indicator and the second idea is positive. So the first idea must be negative. A contrast indicator must connect one positive idea and one negative idea, right? I said my name is Khan, but I am not a terrorist. But is a contrast indicator. The second idea is positive because of double negation. So first idea must be negative. Means my name is Khan must be negative. Now you tell me. My name is Khan must be something negative, positive. My name is Khan must be something negative, positive. Fine, leave it. I'll come back to it. If I say, my name is Khan and I am not a terrorist. And is a support indicator. Must connect either two positive ideas or two negative ideas. The idea after and is, I am not a terrorist. Positive because of double negation. And is a support indicator. The second idea is positive. So the first idea must also be positive. Right? That means my name is Khan must also be positive. Now you decide. My name is Khan must be something negative or positive. Tell me, is there anything wrong in my name being Khan? There's nothing wrong in my name being Khan. There's something, of course, positive. If Shah Rukh Khan says, my name is Khan, but I am not a terrorist, that means he is demeaning himself for possessing a name like Khan. There's nothing wrong in possessing a name like Khan. There's something, of course, positive. So it must be, and it is, my name is Khan and I am not a terrorist. If you find any difficulty with any statement, you just go for a parallel statement. If I say, my name is Mithun, but I am a teacher. My name is Mithun, but I am a teacher. Makes sense or not? Makes sense? It's nonsense actually. My name is Mithun, as I am a teacher. Makes sense? My name is Mithun, as I am a teacher. Makes sense? What is the meaning of the sentence? That means the meaning of this sentence is like, if I were not a teacher, my name would not be Mithun. Make sense? Does not make any sense at all. My name is Mithun and I am a teacher. Make sense? This makes sense. Every sentence must make sense. If I say, her name is Rekha, but she is his wife. Make sense? Her name is Rekha, but she is his wife. Make sense? Does not make any sense. her name is Rekha and she is his wife. Make sense? This makes sense. So every sentence, no matter what, must make sense, right? One student posted a sentence here. Sentence is like, I forgot. His boss shouted at him, hence he completed his work, right? His boss shouted at him, hence he completed his work. Now here, hence is a cause and effect indicator, right? I'll give the list of indicators. A cause and effect indicator must connect a reason and a result. Positive reason, positive result, negative reason, negative result. His boss shouted at him, hence he completed his work. Fine. What is the reason here? What is the result here? What is the result here? He completed his work is a result here. What is the reason here? His boss shouted at him is a reason here. Right. Completing his work is something negative or positive. Now what's the difference between complete and finish? Complete and finish, difference. Now, in a way they are synonyms, right? But a slight difference is there. Complete is usually used in a positive sense. Finish can be both negative and positive. It depends on the sentence in which the word appears actually. If I say, I'll finish my work. I'll finish my work, negative, positive. Positive. I'll finish my work means my work will be completed by me, positive. I'll finish him, negative, positive. What's the meaning of I'll finish him? I'll finish him means I'll kill him, negative, positive. Negative. Now, tell me this, finishing a person is negative, positive. Finishing a person is negative, positive. Negative? Tell me this. Oh. Okay, yeah. I'll come back to what he said. If I say, a wife completes her husband, makes sense. Or, a wife finishes her husband, makes sense. Which makes sense? How many married? You complete your husband or finish your husband? You should ask your husband. Say. Your wife completes you or finishes you? A wife completes her husband makes sense, or a wife finishes her husband makes sense. Which one makes sense? Both make sense. Both make sense, but the meanings and the charges are different. That's the only thing. If a wife completes her husband, that is positive. If a wife finishes her husband, that is negative. We have heard many stories about a wife finishing her husband. There's nothing wrong in that. Right? One is negatively charged, one is positively charged. That's the only difference. Both make sense. Which one makes more sense here? A wife completing her husband makes more sense, or a wife finishing her husband makes more sense? Which one makes more sense? Now, a wife's duty is to complete her husband or finish her husband? Yes? A wife's duty is to complete her husband or finish her husband? Now, husband always says, my wife is my better half. That's what husband says. A husband says, in fact, my wife is my better half. Now, husband says, my wife is my better half because she completes him or finishes him? Completes him. If she finishes him, means he won't be alive to say that. Only because his wife completes him, he says that my wife is my better half. So, a wife's duty is not to finish her husband. A wife's duty is to complete her husband. So, that makes more sense, right? So, complete is in fact used in a positive sense, right? Now, as I said earlier, his boss shouted at him, hence he completed his work, right? The result here is he completed his work. Negative, positive? Positive. If the result is positive, the reason must also be positive, I said. Positive reason, positive result, negative reason, negative result. Now tell me, shouting at a person is negative, positive? Shouting at a person is negative. In this context, I try to understand the meaning of the context. His boss shouted at him, hence he completed his work. In this context, shouting at him is a negative action or positive action? Because of? I say in this context, his boss shouting at him is positive because of double negation. A negative action against a negative action becomes positive or negative? Positive, double negation. A negative action against a negative action is positive. Now tell me, from this context,
Why did his boss shout at him? Because he did not complete his work. As he did not complete his work, his boss shouted at him. Not completing his work is negative, positive? Negative. Shouting at him because he did not complete his work is negative, positive? Positive, because of double negation. So in this context, shouting at that person is negative, positive? Positive. If I say, as my mother shouted at me, I started studying well. As my mother shouted at me, I started studying well. Now in this context, my mother shouting at me is negative, positive? Positive, because of double negation. Why did she shout at me? Because I did not study well. Because I did not study well, she shouted at me. A negative action against negative action becomes positive. So in this context, shouting at me is of course positive. Now everything depends on your understanding of the context. Clear? Any doubt? Fine. I'll ask you a question. Take this down, write down. You may take it as a logical reasoning question. In the case of logical reasoning, we can expect paragraph-based reasoning questions as well as statement-based reasoning questions. If it is paragraph-based reasoning, means like one paragraph, a short paragraph followed by a single question. Statement-based reasoning means a sentence followed by a single question, right? Fine. Take this down, write down. Beauty is present everywhere. Beauty is present everywhere, comma, but not everyone identifies it. Beauty is present everywhere, comma, but not everyone identifies it. Now my question is, from this sentence, can you go for a conclusion that says, some identify beauty? Can this conclusion be drawn from this sentence? Beauty is present everywhere, but not everyone identifies it. From this, can you conclude, some identify beauty? Yes or no? Yes? Everyone saying no? Yes? I say no. That is the imagination, right? Now we go wrong because we imagine a lot. Now our problem is that most of us think too much and then make mistakes. Thinking too much is negative, positive? Why negative? Yeah, two is negative. But that's what most of us do actually. We'll think too much. And if you think too much, it'll be like operation successful but patient died. We don't want that. Right? We want the patient to be alive. So just blindly follow the concepts. Right? From this sentence, we cannot draw a conclusion that says some identify beauty. This is just your imagination. It is not given there in this sentence actually. Right? Now, in this sentence, we have an indicator. What is that? We have an indicator here. What is that? But. What indicator? Contrast indicator. Must connect one positive idea and one negative idea. The idea before but is, beauty is present everywhere. Negative, positive. Positive. But is a contrast indicator. The first idea is positive. So second idea must be negative. That means not everyone identifies it must be negative. So this sentence contains two ideas connected by but. The first idea is positive, the second idea is negative. Clear? Beauty is present everywhere, but not everyone identifies it. It means beauty, you know that, right? It refers to beauty. Now the option I gave is, some identify beauty. This option is negatively charged or positively charged? Some identify beauty is negative, positive? Positive. There is no negative word in this sentence. Based on the words, we need to identify the charge. If the author uses positive words, the charge will surely be positive. If the author uses negative words, the charge will surely be negative. Some identify beauty. There are no negative words here. So this option is positively charged. Agree with me? Fine. Now you tell me. Exactly which idea in this sentence talks about this option? The first idea or second idea? There's no need for you to think actually. Just look at it and say, exactly which idea in this sentence talks about this option? Second idea. Identifying beauty is talked about in the second idea, right? So to know whether this option is correct or not, we need to compare this option only with the second idea. Forget about the first idea. This option is talked about in the second idea. So to get to know whether it is correct or not, we need to compare it only with the second idea. Just forget about the first idea, right? According to this sentence, the second idea is negative, positive. Negative. This option is negative, positive, positive. From a negative idea, we cannot go for a positive conclusion. From a positive idea, we cannot go for a negative conclusion. So this option cannot be concluded from this sentence. I repeat, the sentence contains two ideas connected by but. The first idea is positive, the second idea is negative. The option I gave is some identify beauty. This option is positively judged. And this option is talked about in the second idea. So to know whether it is right or wrong, correct or not, compare it only with the second idea. According to the sentence, the second idea is negative. This option is positive. From a negative statement, a positive conclusion cannot be derived. From a positive statement, a negative conclusion cannot be derived. That is based on the rule, right? Now, understand the meaning of it. Not everyone identifies beauty. Not everyone means some. Not everyone does not mean some. Not everyone means no one. The meaning of not everyone is not some. The meaning of not everyone is no one. Even if you don't know the meaning of not everyone, this option can be eliminated based on the charge. Negative and positive will not go together. Fine? Now, you have taken, you thought not everyone means some, right? You said this is correct because you thought not everyone means some. That's what you thought. Right, fine, wait. If you take not everyone as some identify beauty, negative, positive, positive. But is what indicator? Contrast indicator. A contrast indicator can never connect two positive ideas. A contrast indicator must always connect one positive idea and one negative idea. So it cannot be some anyway. Turning away from the poor. Now the poor means the people who are poor. The rich means the people who are rich. The young means the people who are young. The brave means the people who are brave. Right? The poor means the people who are poor. Turning away from the poor is a negative action or positive action? Positive or negative? Turning away from the poor. How many is a negative action? Positive action? Tell me this. If I say, I turn away from the class. I turn away from the class means I am taking the class or not taking the class? Not taking the class. Negative, positive? Not taking the class. Negative. Right. Turning away from the poor means we are helping the poor or not helping the poor? Turning away from the poor means we are helping the poor or not helping the poor? Not helping the poor. Negative, positive? Negative. Turning towards the poor means positive. Turning towards the poor means what? Helping the poor, like sympathizing with them, showing them some concern, right? Offering them a helping hand, right? That is termed as turning towards the poor, positive. So turning away from the poor is a negative action, right? Fine. Take this down, right now. Some warmly, W-A-R-M-L-Y, warmly, and some warmly, W-A-R-M-L-Y, warmly, and is a support indicator, underline and. Some warmly and neatly dressed people, some warmly and neatly dressed people. Wait, 1 second. Warmly. Warm is a negative word or positive word? Warm. Positive? Give me some examples to say that warm is a positive word. He was given a warm welcome or a cold welcome? Warm welcome. Now, towards the end of invitation letters, we find warm wishes or cold wishes. There's nothing like cold wishes actually. Wishes come from the heart. Even though we cannot see, we believe that wishes come from the heart, right? So wishes are always warm, warm wishes. He has given me a warm hug or a cold hug. There's nothing like cold hug. We don't squeeze people actually. A hug is always warm, right? We human beings are warm-blooded or cold-blooded? How many are cold-blooded here? And I should maintain some distance, guys. We human beings are warm-blooded or cold-blooded? We human beings are warm-blooded. When do we become cold-blooded? When we die, we become cold-blooded. When we are alive also, we can be cold-blooded. Like being very devilish, evil, and all. In fact, most of us are cold-blooded. We pretend to be warm-blooded, right? Because we human beings have the habit of pretension, imitation. So there's a term called affectation. A-F-F-E-C-T-A-T-I-O-N. Affectation. What do you mean affectation? Affectation means? What is affection? Affection means what? Love, care, concern. That's affection. That's different from affectation. Affectation means what? Affectation. Yes. Girls may know it better sometimes. Affectation. Affectation means like pretension, imitation. When we go to some parties and all, some girls overact, right? I'm not saying all the girls, some girls, right? Boys also overact, but more than boys, usually girls do. So some girls overact. Now when a girl knows that a boy is looking at her, then gone. We can watch a whole movie there, right? The way she speaks will change, the way she acts will change, all these will change. She'll start behaving in an artificial manner. That is termed as affectation. If someone behaves in an artificial manner, we can easily understand that, right? An artificial way of behavior is termed as affectation. What do you mean by crocodile tears? Crocodile tears? Boys also, yeah, boys also overacted, but more than boys, usually girls, right? Agree or not? Boys also do. Okay, fine. Let it be a diplomatic one. Fine. What do you mean by crocodile tears? Fake tears. Now we cry in two situations. One is when we feel like crying. The other one is to get the sympathy of others. When we know that we are going to get blamed, we cry to get the sympathy of others. Crocodile tears. You know, right? If you want, we can cry now itself. Right? We can get the tears in eyes. Crocodile tears. What is plastic smile? Fake smile. Artificial smile. When we go to get a photograph taken, the photographer will ask us to smile. We will not feel like smiling. Still we smile. But for the sake of that photo. Taking a selfie, plastic smile. So affectation is pretension or imitation. It was a warm-blooded murder or cold-blooded murder. There's something like warm-blooded murder. It's always cold-blooded murder. What do you mean by cold-blooded murder? Very brutal, horrible, ruthless, merciless, pre-planned. So warm is of course a positive word. Now if you have any doubt in what I gave you, and is a support indicator. Which are the two ideas or words getting connected by and here? One is warmly and the other one is neatly, right? I asked you the charge of the first idea. Forget about it. Come to the second idea. What is that? Neatly dressed people, negative, positive. Positive. So and is a support indicator. The second idea is positive. So the first idea must also be positive, right? Fine. Continue writing. Some warmly and neatly dressed people are very polite. Now I told you earlier, when TOO2 is used with an adjective, it is negative. Too intelligent, too beautiful, too good and all, negative. When so is used with an adjective, it is positive, right? Very is used in a negative sense or positive sense, very. Now very can be used in a negative sense as well as in a positive sense. It depends on the word with which we use very. Very good, negative, positive. Positive. Very beautiful, very sincere, very honest, very humble, very intelligent, all these are positive. Very bad, negative. very dirty, very ugly, very cunning, very tricky. All these are negative. So very can be used in a negative sense as well as in a positive sense. It depends on the word with which we use very. If you're using very with a positively charged word, of course the charge is positive. If we use very with a negatively charged word, of course the charge is negative. So very polite is negative, positive. Positive. Write down. Some warmly and needless people are very polite, comma, and underline and. I'll come back to it, Kaumari. And they turn away from the poor, TURN, and they turn away from the poor because is what indicator? Cause and effect indicator. The same as. I'll give you the list. Connecting a positive reason and a positive result or negative reason and a negative result. Underline because. Because they don't want WNT to hurt them, HURT. They don't want to hurt them by their, THEIR, by their looks, LWOKs. Because they don't want to hurt them by their looks. Full stop. Now, so bad is actually a wrong usage, right? So good also, in fact, the rule is this, it comes in grammar. TOO2 will be followed by TO2. So will be followed by that. If I say, she is so beautiful, she is very beautiful, which of these two is the perfect usage? Very beautiful. In our report cards and all, when we were in school, we used to get good, very good, satisfactory, right? Bad, not bad and all. We'll find very good there or so good there. Very good, because so good cannot be used alone. So cannot be used alone, in fact. It must be followed by that. So very good is the correct usage, right? But no, spoken syntax is completely different from written syntax. While speaking, we'll never think of anything. In fact, nothing. The only thing is that what the speaker says must be understood by the listener. Now, even if I say a grammatically incorrect sentence, you can understand the meaning of it. That's the only thing that matters while speaking. But in the case of writing, we have no choice but to go by the rules of the language, right? We have to go by the rules of the language in the case of writing. In an examination, it's not spoken syntax, it is written syntax. So we have to go by the rules of the language, right? So sentence I gave is, some warmly and neatly dressed people are very polite and they turn away from the poor because they don't want to hurt them by their looks. This is a long sentence, right? It contains some ideas connected by indicators. Now you understand the meaning and tell me, in this context, what I gave, in this context, they turn away from the poor becomes a negative idea or a positive idea? In the context I gave, they turn away from the poor becomes a negative idea or a positive idea? Sorry? Positive or negative? Positive. Those who say positive, give me two reasons to say that they turn away from the poor is a positive idea here. Now, one reason is, I said, some warmly and neatly dressed people are very polite and they turn away from the poor. And is a support indicator. Must connect either two positive ideas or two negative ideas. Which are the two ideas that this and connects here? Means what is the idea coming before and after and? One is they are very polite and the other one is they turn away from the poor. I asked you the charge of the second idea. Forget about it. Come to the first idea. They are very polite, negative, positive. Positive. And is a support indicator. The first idea is of course positive. So second idea must also be positive. That is one reason. Then, because is a cause and effect indicator. It must connect a reason and a result. Which are the two ideas that because connects here? Means the idea coming before because and after because. One is they turn away from the poor and the other one is they don't want to hurt them by their looks. These are the two ideas that because connects you. Which idea is the reason here? They don't want to hurt them by the looks is the reason here. Negative, positive. How come hurt is negative? Don't is negative. Hurt is also negative. Because of which concept is it positive? Double negation. So because of double negation, here the reason is positive. If the reason is positive, the result must also be positive. So in this context, they turn away from the poor becomes a positive. And we could identify the charge of that idea only with the help of the indicators and because. That's why I said never miss any indicator while reading. One more reason. This sentence started in a negative way or positive way? This sentence started in a negative or positive way? Positive way. Anywhere in this sentence, do you find a contrast indicator? No. I've already given you this rule. I said only a contrast indicator tells us about a change in the charge. This sentence started in a positive way, and nowhere in this sentence we find a contrast indicator. That means in this sentence, there is no change in the charge. From the beginning to the end, the whole sentence is positively charged. Clear? When you go for reading comprehension, when you take a question, you identify the charge of the question. If the question is positively charged, you eliminate all the negative options. Similarly, if the question is negatively charged, you eliminate all the positive options. Positive question, positive answer. Negative question, negative answer. Clear? Take this down, write down. Some warmly and neatly dressed people. Some warmly and neatly, write down. Some warmly and neatly dressed people, colon, two dots. Now listen, this is the question. Some warmly and neatly dressed people is a question. You have to answer this question based on the details given in the above sentence, the long sentence. Got it? The question is some warmly and neatly dressed people. This question must be answered based only on the details given in the above sentence. Right? Fine. The first option. Right. Help the poor. Help the poor. The second option. Don't want to help the poor. Don't want to help the poor. The third option. Ridicule the poor. R-I-D-I-C-U-L-E. Ridicule. What do you mean by ridicule? Negative word or positive word? Negative. Ridicule means insult, humiliate, embarrass, right? Ridicule the poor. The fourth option. Don't want to offend the poor. O-F-F-E-N-D. Don't want to offend the poor. Now offending is a negative action or positive action? Offending is a negative action or positive action? Negative. Offending means like going against, opposing, right? Offending is a negative action. What is the opposite of offend? Defend. Defending means like going to one's help, offering a helping hand and all. So offending is negative, defending is positive. Think well and tell me the answer. I've given you 4 options. You need to answer the question based on the details given in the long sentence, the above sentence. Now, the long sentence I gave is negatively charged or positively charged? Positively charged. So the option that we select as the answer must also be positively charged. Based on the charge, we can eliminate 2 options. Which 2? B and C are eliminated because B and C are negatively charged. Now we have only 2 options left, A and D. A says help the poor, positive. D says don't want to offend the poor, negative, positive. Positive because of double negation. Don't is negative, offend is also negative, double negation, positive. Right. How many said D? D. Those who said D, why not A? Help the poor is positively charged. Is this idea, help the poor, given there in that sentence? I said no imagination. I said no imagination. We have to find out an option is given there in the passage. Help the poor is positively charged, undoubtedly. But this idea is not given there in that sentence. Eliminated. The answer must be option D. Come to D. Don't want to offend the poor. Given or not given? Where is it given? Don't want to hurt the poor is the same as don't want to offend the poor. There it is positively charged because of double negation. Option D is also positively charged because of double negation. The answer must be option D. Delhi. Any doubts? Clear? Take this down right now. Right. Some warmly and neatly dressed people. Some warmly and neatly dressed people are very polite, comma, but they turn away from the poor, TURN, but they turn away from the poor because they don't want to help them. Because they don't want to help them. Now, Karan, in the previous sentence, the first option I gave is they help the poor. That is positive, but that option is not given there in the sentence. No imagination, so option A is eliminated. Answer was D, right? Now tell me, in this context, they turn away from the poor is a negative idea or positive idea? Negative? How can it? But is a contrast indicator. Must connect one negative idea and one positive idea. The idea before but is negative positive. Positive. So the idea after but must be negative. That's one reason. Then, because is a cause and effect indicator. Must connect a reason and a result. What is the reason here? They don't want to help them is a reason here. Negative, positive. Negative. If the reason is negative, the result must also be negative. So in this context, they turn away from the poor becomes a negative. Right? So what is talked about some warmly and neatly dressed people in this context is negative. So the option that we select as the answer must also be negative. Now you compare this sentence, the same four options I gave and tell me the answer. Now based on the charge, which two options are eliminated? A and D are eliminated because A and D are positively charged. Now we have only two options left, B and C. Answer? B or C? C says ridicule the poor, negative, positive. Negative. Is this idea given there in that sentence? No. Eliminated. The answer must be option B. Fine? Any doubt? When you move on to exercise, you must tell me the reason for every option based only on these concepts. Fine? Take this down right now. I dash him blank. I dash him because he is dash. We use the word dash in many meanings actually. Right? But there's a word like dash meaning blank. Right? So two blanks are here. I dash him blank because he is dash. Two blanks are there. Right? You have to fill these two blanks with some words. I dash him blank because he is dash. One sentence, two blanks. Hey, don't write dash. What I mean by dash is blank. There's a word like dash meaning blank. Even though we use dash in different abusive words, right? Abusive ways in fact, there's a word like dash meaning blank. Okay, fine. I blank him because his blank is fine. Right? I got it right? You write I first. Keep a blank. Write him because he is. Keep a blank. Enough. Done. The first option, right? Love, comma, rich. Love, comma, rich. One option, two words, because we have two blanks in the sentence, right? Love, comma, rich. The second option. Marry, comma, handsome. marry, comma, handsome. The third option. Hate, SAT, hate, comma, innocent. Hate, comma, innocent. The next option. Cheat, CSAT, cheat, comma, good. Cheat, comma, good. The next option. Trust, 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 comma, honest, HONEST, trust, comma, honest. One more, wait, one more option. Marry, comma, rich, marry, comma, rich. How many options I give? 6. Listen, now I said every sentence must make sense. Fine? Think and tell me your answer. Okay, tell me this first. The sentence I gave is negatively charged or positively charged? We cannot say. Can be negative, can be positive. Anyway, because is a cause and effect indicator, it must connect a positive reason and a positive result, or negative reason and a negative result. That means these blanks must be filled with either 2 positive words or 2 negative words. That is for sure. Based on that, we can eliminate 2 options. Which 2? Cheat, good, eliminated. Then one more. Hate, innocent, eliminated. Now we have 4 options left. Wait. Love, negative, positive. Positive. Rich, positive. Handsome, positive. Marry, positive. Trust, positive. Honest, positive. Fine. What's your answer? Trust, honest. Any other answer? Any other? Any other answer? The sentence must make sense. That's it. Any other? What's the first option I gave? Love? Rich. I love him because he is rich. Makes sense or not? I love him because he is rich. Makes sense? Yes. Some girls love only rich men. Nothing wrong in that. Of course it makes sense. Right. What's the second option I give? Marry, handsome. I marry him because he is handsome. Makes sense? Yes. Some girls marry only handsome men. Nothing wrong in that. Makes sense. I trust him because he is honest. Makes sense? Yes, makes sense. What's the last option I give? Marry rich. I marry him because he is rich. Makes sense? Yeah, some girls marry only rich men. Happens in the present day world also. Sometimes the girl will be 20 years old. The man will be 60 years old. She marries him because he is rich. Nothing wrong in that. Right? Makes sense. We have 4 options that make sense. We cannot go for 4 options. We can go for only 1 option. Tell me the best option and the reason for it. Trust and honest. Any other answer? Fine. Why not the other options? I agree with you. It's trust and honest. Why not the other options? You need to have valid logical reason. Right? Why not the other options? I love him because he is rich. Yes, but happens only in the case of some people. Right? I marry him because he is handsome. Yes, but happens only in the case of some people. I marry him because he is rich. Yes, but happens only in the case of some people. I trust him because he is honest. Happens only in the case of some or in the case of everyone. Yes? I trust him because he is honest. Happens in the case of some or happens in the case of everyone. This happens in the case of everyone. Now, even if I am a dishonest person, I will trust only an honest person. No one will trust a dishonest person. Everyone trusts only an honest person. So, even if I am a dishonest person, I will trust only an honest person. This happens in the case of everyone. Thinking that way, the best option must be trust, honest. Clear? Fine. 1 second. Okay, one student messaged me that I am also imagining like a love comma rich, no? I said some girls love only rich men. Right. It's an imagination. Now here, what's your name? Kaumudi, I cannot, I'm not saying about boys yet. Because I said he is, what is he? Because I said I dashed him because he's, dashed two blanks there, right? If I say I love him because he is handsome, and the meaning becomes different. If I'm a man. That's the reason why I'm not using the word boys here. Some boys marry only rich men, rich girls. Happens. Some boys marry only rich girls. Some boys marry only beautiful girls. It happens, right? So I did not say the word boys there because I said the word handsome there. If I had gone for the word beautiful means I would have said the word boys also, right? Anyway, based on that sentence, it completely makes sense. Love rich completely makes sense. Love handsome completely makes sense. Marry rich completely makes sense. Marry handsome completely makes sense, right? Because it happens. But it happens only in the case of some people. As trust and honest happens in the case of everyone, the best option must be trust honest. Anything to ask? Clear? In the case of reading comprehension, sometimes there may be a contextual vocabulary question. It happens this way. A word will be given in the question. The same word will be there in the passage used only once. And the options will be words. So our task is to go for a word to replace a word that is given as a question. So in the case of such a question, we're going to focus only on that context or sentence where that word is mentioned. Focus only on that context. In that context, if that word is used in a positive way, the option that we select must also be positive. Similarly, if it is used in a negative way, the option that we select must also be negative. Now, a contextual vocabulary question may appear, may not appear. If it appears, only one will be there, right? And we'll give an example. In the case of exercises, we'll do questions on contextual vocabulary as well, right? Take this down right now. You can take it as an example to contextual vocabulary. Right. There are compelling incentives, compelling, C-O-M-P-E-L-L-I-N-G, compelling incentives to cut alcohol consumption What's spelling of consumption? C-O-N-S-U-M-P-T-I-O-N. What do you mean by consumption? Intake. What's the difference between cut down and cut out? Cut down means to reduce. Cut out means to leave completely. There are compelling incentives to cut alcohol consumption, but that's not, that's no easy task, you write. That's no easy task, full stop. Now, that's no easy task means that is not an easy task. That's no easy task, full stop. This is a sentence given in the passage, right? And as a question you write, take down. The word compelling, keep compelling in quotations. The word compelling can be replaced with colon, two dots. That means you have to go for a word to replace the word compelling. Right. The first option, influential. The second option, appealing, A-P-P-E-A-L-I-N-G, appealing. The third option, forceful. The fourth option, attentive, A-T-T-E-N-T-I-V, attentive. 4 options. If you say attentive, I'll ask you why not the other 3. I want the reason for every option. Think. Attentive. Now, if you say attentive is your answer, you must tell me why not the other 3 options. Okay, option D, attentive, A-T-T-E-N-T-I-V, attentive. 4 options. Think. Okay, tell me this. In that sentence, in the given sentence, the word compelling is used in a negative sense or positive sense? Positive or negative? There are compelling incentives to cut alcohol consumption. Consuming alcohol is negative or positive? Huh? Who told you that? Who told you that consuming alcohol is negative? On the bottle it's mentioned. Huh? Now, there are many medicines that contain alcohol. Alcohol content is there in many medicines, right? Cough syrup. When we suffer from kidney stones and all, doctors advise us to take beer because beer will help us get rid of kidney stones, right? Almost everyone drinks, right? You cannot say drinking is, almost everyone drinks, but the way some people behave after drinking is different. Some will start singing, some will start dancing, some will remain silent, some will start speaking a lot, some will start crying, right? That's different in fact. Now, while drinking, people become happy or sad? Happy or sad? Now when we, happy or sad? Both are. Now when we are happy, we go and drink. Right, when we are happy, we go and drink to become sad or to become more happy? When we are happy, we don't go and drink to become sad. When we are happy, we go and drink to become more happy. When we are sad also, we go and drink. For what? To get some relief. Right. Getting some relief under like feeling happy or feeling sad? Feeling happy. No one will drink to become sad. Right. The way the people behave after drinking is different. And the most horrible thing is people advising after drinking. They will sit with us and drink. And they'll advise us. And what is the advice they give? We should not drink. And after they'll order 2 packs for us. Right? So we cannot say that consuming alcohol is negative. Too much of consumption is negative. Because too much of eating sweets also negative, right? Yes, too much of everything is negative. So alcohol consumption is not negative. Too much of consumption is negative. Right. This sentence says, there are compelling incentives to cut alcohol consumption. But the sentence does not end there. Every sentence ends with a full stop. Right? It says, there are compelling incentives to cut alcohol consumption, comma, but, contrast indicator. That's no easy task. The idea after but is, that's no easy task, negative, positive. Negative. So, but is a contrast indicator and the second idea is negative. So, the first idea must be positive. That means in this context, the word compelling is used in a positive sense. So, the option that we select as the answer must also be positively charged. Fine? Right. Now tell me, what's your answer? Okay, wait. Influential, negative, positive. Can be negative, can be positive. There can be a negative influence as well as a positive influence. Right. What's the second option I give? Appealing. Appealing is negative, positive. Appealing is of course positive. In fact, appealing refers to a senses, positive. Forceful, negative, positive. Negative or both? Now, some words can be both negative and positive. It depends on the sentence in which we come across that word. If I say force, force is a negative or a positive word? Force. Negative, positive, both. Okay, you frame a sentence with force as a negative word. Give me a sentence with force as a negative word. Any sentence. If I say, the children were forced to work on the road, right? The children were forced to work on the road, negative, positive. Negative, that means they did not want to work. They got compelled to work, negative. He has delivered his speech with force, negative, positive. He has delivered his speech with force means with energy, enthusiasm, excitement, confidence, negative, positive. Positive. Forceful, negative, positive. If I say, I have given him a forceful slap, negative, positive. Slapping is negative action or positive action? Negative action. So if I say forceful slap, the word forceful tells us about the intensity of the slap, intensity of the negative action, negative. He delivers forceful speeches, negative, positive. Whenever we say something, we should say it forcefully. Only then others will believe it. If we want to convince others, we should say everything forcefully. Only then we can create an impression on others. Even if you say a blunder, I'm not asking you to say a blunder, even if you say a blunder, say it forcefully. Right? Only then others will get convinced. You can impress others. So forceful can be both negative and positive. In the case of this logical reasoning and reading comprehension, in the options on the passage, we may come across some confusing words. Right? There are many words in the language that sound positive but are negative, or that sound negative but are positive. If I give an example, artful. Artful is a negative or a positive word? Artful. Artful, negative, positive. Okay, wait. Art is a negative or a positive word? Art. Of course, positive. What do you mean by arts? If I say a person of arts, means skills, talents, abilities. So art is of course a positive word. Artful, artless, which is negative, which is positive. Artful is negative, positive. Artful is positive. Artless is negative. It's the other way in fact. Artful is negative, whereas artless is positive. If someone says I'm an artful person, I should not feel happy. Because an artful person is one who plays tricks on others, who cheats others, who deceives others, a cunning person. Whereas an artless person is a very sincere, straightforward, innocent, honest person. So even though artful sounds positive, it is negative. Artless sounds negative, but it is positive. So such words may confuse us by identifying the charge of a sentence. Heartful, negative, positive. Heartful. Okay, wait. Heartless, negative, positive. If I say you are a heartless person, does it mean you don't have heart? No. We should not have a literal meaning actually. We cannot say without heart. Who can be called a heartless person? Who does not have any kind of feelings for others, no concern for others, no humanity and all. Heartless person. A stone-hearted person can be termed as a heartless person, negative. Heartful, negative, positive. Positive, negative. Heartful. Yes? Positive. It is not negative, it is not positive. There is no word in English like heartful. Even though we use it, it is not there actually. Right? Now, there's something called Indian English. Indian English means like we Indians have invented many things in English language which English people don't know. And we use those every day while speaking, you know. Right? There's nothing like heartful. Now, like in wedding invitation cards, you'll find heartful congratulations or hearty congratulations. Right? It's hearty congratulations. Wholeheartedly is also correct. Right? There's nothing like heartful, even though we use it, it's not there. If I say, I have come here with my cousin brother, correct? I have come here with my cousin brother, correct? There is nothing in English like cousin brother or cousin sister. That is what we have framed actually, right? It's only cousin. Can your cousin be your brother or sister? Can your cousin be a brother or sister? Yes or no? No. Your cousin cannot be a brother or sister. If your cousin can be a brother or sister, then there is no need of the word cousin in English. Your siblings are your brothers or sisters. Now out of love or out of affection, we consider cousins that way, right? There's nothing like cousin brother or cousin sister, it's only cousin. And if you want to specify the gender of your cousin, you can say male cousin or female cousin, completely fine. I have come here with my male cousin, completely fine. I have come here with my female cousin, completely fine. Have you ever used it? I also don't use it. We all use all these only when the situation demands. Also, we don't even think about it. Right. May I know your good name? Correct? May I know your good name is correct or not? Even people at high standards use this. May I know your good name? Correct? Yes? What is wrong? There is nothing like good name or bad name. Every name is good. Right? Now we Indians do some overaction and say good name and all those things. May I know your sweet name? Correct? Boys' names won't be sweet, usually girls' names will be. May I know your sweet name? Correct? Yes or no? Her sweet name and all. Correct? There's nothing like good name, bad name, sweet name, or spicy name and all. It's just may I know your name. These are what we say just to create an impression on others, but not there in the language, right? Now you must be able to differentiate between the charges of some words actually. Only a slight difference will be there. What's the difference between praising and flattering? Praise and flatter. One is negative, one is positive. Praising is negative, positive. Praising is positive, flattering is negative. In fact, both mean speaking good about a person. Speaking good about a person, if he deserves it, that is praising. If he does not deserve it, that is termed as flattering. Now, we flatter a person for our own benefit. If I want something from you, I'll keep on saying many good things about it. My only intention is that I should benefit from that. That is termed as flattering. So, praising is done with a positive intention, flattering is done with a negative intention. That's the only difference. Getting tempted, negative, positive. Negative, positive, or both? Getting tempted. Both? You give me a sentence, you frame a sentence with getting tempted as a positive usage. Give me a sentence. Give me a sentence with getting tempted as a positive usage. Yes?
I'm getting tempted to learn English.
No, you'll never. Okay, fine, wait. If I say, I got tempted to have ice cream, right? I got tempted to have ice cream. This sentence is negatively charged or positively charged? I got tempted to have ice cream. How many say this sentence is positively charged? Negative? Now, what is the meaning of the sentence? I got tempted to have ice cream means? What is the meaning getting conveyed here? I got tempted to have ice cream means I'm not supposed to have ice cream, or I should not have ice cream, but I'm getting compelled in a way to have ice cream. That's the meaning of it, right? I'm not supposed to have ice cream, or I should not have ice cream, but I'm getting compelled in a way. Negative, positive. Negative. Getting tempted can never be positive. Getting tempted is always negative. Now, should I say, I got tempted by Gandhiji, correct? Should I say that? That's a blunder. The meaning is completely different. I got inspired by Gandhiji is okay. But I got motivated by Gandhiji is okay. I got tempted by Gandhiji is a blunder. Are you tempted to take the exam, or are you motivated to take the exam? No, we don't get tempted to take the exam. We get motivated or inspired to take the exam. If you get tempted, we'll do all negative things. If you get motivated, inspired, we'll do all positive things. Now, when you go to an interview, and if you're very sure that you will crack the interview, before leaving the room, if you feel like flattering the interviewer, should you say, sir, you tempted me a lot? Should you say that? If you say that, you'll be kicked out at that moment itself. What we have gained till then will be lost forever. If you say, sir, you have motivated me a lot, sometimes we get that job. So, temptation is a negative word. Not the chocolate I'm saying, that's different, proper no. Temptation is a negative word, whereas motivation and inspiration are positive words, right? So come to options I gave. Forceful can be both negative and positive, right? Fine. What's the last option I gave? Attentive. Negative, positive. Of course, positive. Now I told you every sentence must make sense. We are asked to go for a word, to remove the word, to replace the word compelling. The sentence is compelling incentives. You know what incentives are? No, I should not say attentive incentives. Incentives cannot be attentive. We can be attentive. We can be attentive. Incentives cannot be attentive. So that does not make any sense. Eliminate it. Now we have three options left. Influential, appealing, forceful. How many say influential? Appealing. Forceful. Now I say 1, 2 and 3 are correct answers. Now our task is not to find out the correct answer. Our task is to find out the best answer, right? Come to the word influential. I replace the word compelling with influential. There are influential incentives to cut alcohol consumption. That means incentives that influence us to cut alcohol consumption. Make sense? Yes. Positively charged because but is there. the idea after but is negative. So anyway, the idea before but must be positive. So 1 is the correct answer. Come to the second option. What is it? Appealing. There are appealing incentives to cut alcohol consumption. Means incentives that appeal to us to cut alcohol consumption. Makes sense. Positively charged because but is there. Correct. Come to 3. Forceful. There are forceful incentives to cut alcohol consumption. That means incentives that force us to cut alcohol consumption. Makes sense. Positively charged because but is there. The idea after but is negative. So no matter what, the idea before but must be positive. We have 3 correct options. We cannot go for 3 answers. We can go for only one option. Tell me the best answer and the reason for it. Influential. Why not the other 2? Then appealing is fine. Forceful also fits the context, right? Yeah. Okay. Incentives can force us, incentives can appeal to us, incentives can influence us. All are fine. But one option is required. Best one. Now we are asked to go for a word to replace the word compelling, right? You give me a synonym for compel. Force. The synonym of compel is not influence. The synonym of compel is not appeal. The synonym of compel is not attentive. Can the synonym of compel be force? Yes. The best option here is forceful. In the case of such a situation, go for the synonym and find out the best answer. If words are given as options, go for the synonym and find out the best option. So here we have 3 correct answers. By going by the synonym, the best option here must be forceful. Clear? Fine. So that's it about the concept of indicators. Tomorrow at the beginning I'll give you the list of indicators. Then we'll discuss some concepts to understanding the context, and then we'll just start with the application part. Anything to ask? Any questions? Any questions? Nothing to ask? All of you are like, what is your mother tongue? Telugu. Okay, I can understand. I can speak also. But not fluent. And not that fluent. I can speak. I can manage. I can understand really well. Right? I'm from Kerala. Any questions? Anything to ask? Nothing to ask? We'll stop? Fine, we'll meet tomorrow. Right then, thank you.